right, how's it going, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome to the closing beat. This is what we do every day, hopefully. We go over the stock market, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we drop the drama, hopefully, from, in the normal garbage that they talk about on TV. Let's just give you the updates. How did things go today? Well, today, to start the week, the markets were a lot higher. Over the weekend, it was, really last night, it was revealed that the U.S., Canada, and Mexico finally agreed to work together. North America as a whole is going to work together and do things. Now, here's the thing with this NAFTA deal. You're going to see this happen with every other country that we fight against going forward, including China. So the name of the game for the politicians is they all have to be able to come out and say that they did great and everything's going to be good and we're friends now. You notice how that always stops, where you never see Trump saying we got the best of them and we're going to, obviously make a lot of money off of them or something. You never see Canada come out and say like, oh, we got the better end of the deal. No, because that's what's agreed upon, is that they will come out and calmly tell everybody the world is great and after all that bickering, we're going to be just fine. Regardless of that, the markets did start higher today based on that news, but there's a lot of underlying things going on, and I will continue to point out that if you're investing in the short term in this market, you've got plates spinning, right? Now, we're long-term investors. That's what we do, but we like to comment on the day-to-day of the markets. But you've got a lot of plates spinning, and by that, I'll go over this in a minute to explain it. But what I mean is that the juggler that spins the plates on the sticks, right? Imagine that being all the different sectors of the stock market. Everything's just spinning just fine. And now the juggler has to go and spin some of the plates again because they're starting to wobble, right? And so you got a lot of this, certain sectors doing well, certain sectors, not doing so well, certain parts of the world not doing very well. And that's what's really the underlying tone in the market. We'll go through all of it, I promise. If we look through the stock market today, the Dow was higher by 198. Not bad. It was higher by, I think, 235 or 265 at one point, and then it did fall down to about 150 throughout the day. So it was up 1%, came back to where it was only up 0.5%. That shows that little volatility, that back and forth in there. And actually, if you look at this chart over here, you can see that the volume was just above average today for the S&P 500, which added 10 points on the day, and the Nasdaq actually closed down by 9. That was a bit of a wild ride, and I should have put the Nasdaq on that chart today. But anyways, the big bulk story of the day is, of course, the deal with Canada, and now getting all three of us to work together: Mexico, Canada, and of course us. So let's go through here to the markets. We'll take a look at some of what's going on. Here's the Dow on the charts. You can see almost back to all-time highs. Not too bad. The Nasdaq 100 popped up and hit all-time highs today and then settled in. We'll go through that in a minute. And the S&P 500 basically stuck within a little tiny range there of less than 1%. If you look back here over the last, I don't know, maybe 8 days total, 7 days, just back and forth between high and low with really no interesting move to take it higher. Now, part of that today, a little bit of it, was help from the banks, right? The banks started the day by recovering some of what they had sold off and lost over the last few weeks, or over the last few days, sorry. So the banks have been on this consistent and steady slide downward. Today they actually started higher, and at one point were up over 1%. However, it couldn't close that way. So notice what happened. You got the S&P 500, right? What happened? It started higher today. Everything was looking good, and then it faded. Why did it fade? If you look at the banks started really good, and then they faded. If you're one of our customers, you have no idea what we're looking at here. We did a whole class, 3 classes actually, on candlesticks. Let me know. Send me an email if you're one of our customers. I'll send you those links if you're interested in learning about this. But this is a very clear picture of a sector, and also the S&P 500, which started higher and then lost all of it, well, most of its steam for the day. And that's indicated there by a real simple candlestick chart to take a look at. Now, one sector that gained in steam throughout the day, almost like money moving from banks into oil, was oil. Gave it away. So here's crude oil breaking the new recent highs, up over $75 a barrel today. That's 3%. So that's 3% in gains for oil. Global supply, Iranian sanctions. Remember, we've talked about this in our prior closing beat classes where the Iranian sanctions just aren't working the way they were supposed to for the U.S. It was supposed to be a great thing that we did, and it was going to be amazing and keep prices lower. It's totally backfiring. That isn't going to make it into the news because nobody wants to talk about that. And so $75 a barrel, that's the first time in going on 4 years, by the way, since we've been higher by, where the price of oil has been to $75 a barrel. So strengthening a little bit more each day. Now, you can see if you look at the charts here, steady uptrend nobody cares about. When it starts to rocket ship like this, that's going to get attention. So more and more people will talk about that, especially if that sort of aggressive move continues. Wednesday, we get crude oil inventory. So if you're talking about a way that we could see a quick little pop higher this week, those oil inventories could be one of the driving factors. I'd expect Wednesday to be pretty active. Okay, let's go over to the Canadian dollar. Here's one way to look at it. Here's a picture of the Canadian dollar. It was trending higher in a very, very wild way thanks to this sort of back and forth. And now that we've got that essentially behind us, the Canadian dollar up by about 1% today, breaking out to new like 3-month highs there. So looking pretty good. And then industrials, they were one of the leaders today. Look, you had Boeing. That one's in the news. Well, let's just go through it. So Boeing breaking out of this range. I was going to do a whole rundown. I'm still going to do it and post it. But you know how we did the rundown on AMD and limited brands? I got one ready for Boeing as well. And that stock just broke out. Plain and simple, it just broke out, looking really good. From a technical perspective, if you're a short-term trader, technical traders paid very close attention to that one today, and that's all good. The biggest stock in the news today by far is Tesla, up 17% today after reaching a deal, well, after settling with the SEC. Part of the deal is that he's got to step down as chairman, bring in 2 independent directors, and who are they going to bring in for the chairman? You know how on sports media, if I could take a second for this one here, because this is what fires me up. So in sports media, they talk about like who should have been drafted and who would be a key player for a team and how much money a company, a professional team spends on a player, and it creates drama, right? And so all the dudes and the women that love sports and everything, they're all tuned in to their favorite sports teams and the changes that they're making. What you're seeing and what you're about to see with Tesla in probably the next 2 weeks is the same exact thing, only talking about business. So it's a really, really direct relationship. Right now, we're talking about who's going to be the chairman. So if I were to start a conversation, if anybody's actually into this, I think they pick the former CEO of Boeing. You got to go with that guy. So, you know, now I sound like a ESPN guy, but you got to go with the former CEO of Boeing. Number one, he knows manufacturing. He obviously knows heavy and incredible manufacturing. He's good at that. But space, think about it. The component that they need or that they could really use is the space side of things. 19% of Boeing is space and defense. The satellites, the rockets, the fighter jets and stuff that they make. So what guy knows more than that than the guy that used to run Boeing? What an advantage there. And not to mention the guy from Boeing just has all the contacts and everybody that he dealt with on the space side of things. So you got Tesla from an automotive standpoint, an engineering standpoint, and then you've got the space side, the SpaceX a lot of people forget about. And in my opinion, you pick that Boeing, I can't think of his name. I've been trying to think of his name. Former CEO of Boeing, and he's looking, by the way, so he might be interested in that gig. Anyways, we'll find out soon. And of course, the stock price up 17% today, basically just going right back to where it started before the SEC news, which is the appropriate response, I think, for the stock today. So totally normal. General Electric's going to be in the news as well. They're getting a new CEO. The other guy's out. He was making decisions way too slowly, and you could sort of hear the grumblings of that. I didn't think they'd let him go, but anyways, they're making a switch to a new guy who's supposedly a little bit rougher around the edges, and he'll get it done. The problem is you can't buy the stock now because what happened today by them telling you that the CEO is out, the company's essentially telling you we've got more problems. This isn't a magic pill. This isn't somehow this guy is going to clean it up. That's telling you that this guy just didn't have any good answers because it's that hard to restructure such a large company. So now they're just putting a new guy in. We don't know that the new guy's got a great plan yet. So I just, to me, I get it. It was a great day for the stock. It's tough to say go diving into GE and try to pick the bottom on that one. Okay, Chipotle, that stock was downgraded today. Basically, the analyst came out and he said Wall Street has expectations of X for Chipotle, depending on who the analyst is. And this guy said, we're downgrading the stock because all of you people are expecting too much out of Chipotle. They just don't think it's going to show that great of earnings potential, or earnings trajectory was the key word he used. Based on what Wall Street was looking for. So the stock was down just over 1.5%, not too much today. CBS, the stock was down today. They still have got New York State, New York City lawsuits against CBS and Leslie Moonves that they're dealing with. More of that came out today. So, you know, they got to deal with it. You're going to probably see more of that. Google, or Alphabet in this case, the stock was slightly higher today. They got new features in the maps. I actually pulled it up for a second. I didn't see any difference. But in their maps, in Google Maps, now whether you're driving yourself or public transit, you're supposed to see a little different there. Also, they're integrating Spotify, Apple Music, and Google Play into Maps. I don't know why. I don't get it. I thought about that all day. Like, why do I need Apple Music inside of Maps? Don't I pull up Maps because I want to go somewhere. Does it know what road I'm on? It's going to play some kind of music that's interesting. I don't know, but the stock was basically flat on the day on that one. And what else do we have? Oh, lastly, California. California becomes the first state to require that every publicly traded corporation that's actually headquartered in California must have at least one woman on their board of directors by the end of 2019. Yet another way that California is trying to ruin themselves. Just saying. You shouldn't have to tell people. If someone's qualified and you want to get a woman on your board of directors, I think we all get it. You need to include more women. But California has decided they actually are going to force it, the issue. So one woman on board of directors for publicly traded companies in California. I can't remember if Apple has a woman on their board. I can't think of who that would have been. But, you know, we'll see what happens. That's really all I got for you today. Let's see if you have any questions there. Oh, Canada. Yeah. Stitch Fix. Yeah, they had earnings after hours here, right? Was that today? Stitch Fix, I believe they came out with earnings here just shortly. Ouch! Stitch Fix down to 35. If you're looking on the charts there, maybe a little bit worse. I just noticed my all my stuff's delayed here. Down to 35. That's where the stock's trading right now. Closed at 44. They came out with earnings. Oh, let's see if we can get an update on what happened there. Down 17%. Down. Yeah, oh, geez. Yeah, that's. Hopefully you don't own that one. If you do, hopefully you own a small position. That is pretty brutal there for Stitch Fix. Oh, financial investor. You like the banks? Hey, no doubt, little discount there. Yeah, and what's funny is gas has been going up rather fast relative to the price of oil. Always goes up fast when oil goes up, and then all of a sudden they slow play it on the way down. It's very clever. There are a few analysts now that think $100 a barrel. I think there's now 4 total that cover oil-related stocks and the sector. Do any 529s plans support individual stocks? Probably not. I don't know of any that do. The goal there is not to buy individual stocks. They think they want diversified, they want safe. If you are looking for something like that, you might be looking for a custodial account. It's almost the same as a 529. There are different rules, of course, but in a custodial account, make sure it fits you. But in a custodial account, you can put whatever you want in there. So if you wanted individual stocks, if that were a good fit, you could. Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, Praxair. Yeah, they were one of the big ones today. I'll tell you, let me go to the upside. You got a lot of energy stocks. On the downside, you had gaming and airlines, by the way. So American Airlines, there it is, down 4%. You got gaming stocks. MGM was down 3.5%. And Wynn Resorts, actually, those are the only 2 I looked at. Wynn Resorts hit new lows. That's a downtrend right there. That's an impressive downtrend. Since June, very, very, very steady downtrend. Let's take a quick look if you're in the game. Las Vegas Sands, also steady downtrend there. Not bad. Not bad. And then a lot of other tech names. You know, tech wasn't, we know tech was down today, but tech was one of those ones that really tried to start and then faded back. So I don't like the sound of that. You know, you never like to see that. And then Starbucks. That's a pretty aggressive little sell-off on Starbucks, if you're paying attention. We covered CBS, Viacom in the mix there as well. Same category. Marriott closing below the 200-day moving average again. Not good. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Yep. We covered GE, yeah. California's got a lot of things going on out there, but you know, you do what you got to do out there. You do what you got to do. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Appreciate all of you guys watching for the day. If it helped you in some way, maybe you'll hit the subscribe button, and we will be back tomorrow, of course, to cover everything, and have a great day.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.
Hey, wait! Before you go watch one of our other great videos, have you had a chance to see our new Fin Tips videos? They focus on one topic at a time, covering investing, personal finance, and anything that can quickly help you with your dough. Best of all, we'll keep it real short, because we know time is money.